Hello, welcome back to this week's video. My name is Brynne, and this week we'll be trying to cure my burnout and my book reading slump by reading romance. Over the past few months, I have been really focusing on reading fantasy books that have more of a political element and not so much on the romance because I felt like when it came to romantasy, I was just reading a lot of copy and paste, and that made me feel a little bit too static. So I needed to move on to something different. Don't get me wrong, I love my fantasy with high politics and angry FMC. Like, that's just my preferred favorite types of books. But in doing so, that has made me not read so much of my other types of books that I like, such as romance or romantasy. So as for the books I have planned to read this week, two of them are on my Kindle. One of them is an audiobook and the other book is physical. The Kindle books are Daughter of No Worlds, which I'm about 25% of the way through, if I'm not mistaken, and really loving it, really enjoying it. The second book is Leather and Lark. I got it through the Libby app. Then for an audiobook, I'm reading The Masters of Death. And then for my physical book, this one I'm so excited for, and that is The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. I'm so excited to read this because it's Kylo Ren and Rey fanfic. I don't really talk about my love for Star Wars online, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And when I got to see episode 9, I was like on the verge of tears. No, not on the verge of tears. I cried. I cried for them. I love them so much. So I'm really excited to see how this is Kylo Ren and Rey fanfic. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, I'm here with the reading updates. I finished reading Daughter of No Worlds and I loved it. I rated it 4 stars. The writing was a bit cringy at times. Sometimes even with the dialogue, I was a little bit like, girl, why are we writing this? Anyways, I really loved Titana's and Max's storylines. I liked how they grew as individuals, kind of parallel to each other, if that makes sense, rather than being so mashed up together. I feel like that can be such a hard thing to keep up with in romantasy books where they're still able to be each other and be with each other and grow as individuals and with each other. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like a lot of the times they just kind of merge fully and then have little bits and pieces outside of the relationship. Then again, it is a series, so don't know what's going to happen next. I really like how it's taken time to develop a relationship rather than a physical relationship. Like, they're into each other, that's obvious. Trust and feeling comfortable with one another without it being sexual is a different thing. Don't get me wrong. I read dark romance. I read those smutty books. I love those books so much, but sometimes I want something a little bit different, and I feel like this book is what I've been looking for. So I'm really excited to continue on with this story and see what happens next. But before going into the next book I'm going to read, let me talk about Masters of Death, which I'm reading with my book club. Because I'm reading with my book club, I'm not supposed to read it all the way through. Basically, I'm not loving it. I really wish I was. I don't like the characters. I like Viola and Fox. That's it though. So Masters of Death is about a real estate vampire who's trying to sell a house, but this ghost lives in this house, so she's going to this sham medium to get this ghost out of the house, and this sham medium's grandfather is Death. Here's the thing. That's what it says in the synopsis. That's what it's supposed to be about. I feel like it is so far from that though. And one of my biggest pet peeves is whenever the synopsis of the book is completely different and it's like nothing like the book whatsoever. But basically, Death has been kidnapped. There's a game that they're playing and they have to win this game. All the characters have very big and loud personalities. Trust and believe, I don't hate big and loud personalities. I can't stand it when people are talking over each other. If I'm in a room and everybody is having different conversations going on, I want to lock myself in a dark corner, put on some soundless, like those soundproof headphones, listen to whale sounds, and literally just for 5 minutes, probably longer. I usually need like at least an hour of that before I become a normal person again. But I physically and emotionally cannot stand being around people who are just over each other and always interrupting. So with this book, those that's what those characters are like. They're constantly interrupting, constantly talking over one another. So reading that with the dialogue was making me feel very anxious and needing to, by the way, I'm listening to an audiobook. So I feel like that's making it worse. But I'll have to like pause the audiobook because I'm just like, I need a break from the characters constantly having dialogue. That and there's so many different storylines going on at the same time that really overwhelmed me as well. Don't get me wrong. I love when stories have a lot of things happening. I love it when there's very a lot of details and character development and all this other stuff here and there. That's why I read series, fantasy series, not so much fantasy standalones. And it's because I need that time to grow with the characters and the storyline and the world and stuff like that. I'm going to read Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that much reading done today. There are a few things I have to do. So, but yeah, I'll be back later with another update. I'm here with an update on the Love Hypothesis. Here's the thing, I'm really bad at knowing how to give updates while I'm actively reading the book because I don't know how to not give spoilers. I will try to do better about that though. So, anyways, I finished it and I absolutely loved it. I even have an annotation about like the 50 pages mark that I wrote teehee because I was giggling and laughing so much about it. This definitely has to be my favorite Ali Hazelwood book for sure. It was annoying to put it down and it was rewarding to pick it up again. If anybody knows where I can find it, please tell me because I looked through her AO3 and I could not find it in there. I think it was probably taken down because it was traditionally published. But if anybody has a way that I can get my hands on that fan fiction, I would greatly appreciate it. Oh, and I rated it 4 stars. I don't think I said that yet. I also finished listening to Masters of Death, and unfortunately, I'm not a fan. I don't know. I feel like there's no point of me continuing on the reasons why I didn't like it because I kind of went over that already. Now I gotta read Leather and Lark. I got it through the Libby app, and I only have like 5 days left to read it. I was going to do the audiobook version, but I saw a lot of reviews saying that it was super cringy. So that's why I want to read it instead. I have that in my Kindle, so I'm going to go ahead and read that, and I'll try to be a little bit better about giving updates on my thoughts on it. Hey, I'm softy and effing the book because I'm not in the mood for contemporary romance anymore. Listen, it's not terrible. It's really not. There's a lot of nicknames being thrown around. If I was in the mood for it, that's probably something that I could not care less about. But because I'm not in the mood for it, I'm being overly nitpicky. So I'm going to take a step back. I'll get back to it eventually. But since I'm softy and effing that book, I'm actually just going to go ahead and end the video here. I'm glad that I got back into romantasy again. I can't stop thinking about the love hypothesis. Now I want to look up Star Wars fanfic, to be honest. Actually, let me say something real quick. So when it comes to fanfiction, I never really read movie, TV show, or book based fanfiction. I've only ever read like My Chemical Romance, All Time Low, Pierce the Veil type of fanfictions. So I just recently got into Hermione fanfiction, and now I want to get into Star Wars fan fiction. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful and happy day, happy reading, and I will see you next time.